Good morning. Good morning. Listen, I just want to share this quick word of encouragement for which is inspired by my sister's comment this morning. Ra. I hope I pronounced your name right. But I want to say this right here, your comment, and I'm gonna read it here because you're not the only one that says this. Many of you say the same thing. My sister says she's experiencing opposition. Basically, I'm just said they have everything and still take time to take daily jabs at me, sitting around to talk about others, still tormenting people that they never even spoke to. Why? Because they're miserable. My sister, you hit it. You hit it the nail right on the head, and you're not the only one. Many of you, my other brothers and sisters, you've been trying to, you were trying to find out, like, wrap your minds around why. But now you see, because you understand spiritual warfare. They can have everything and still be, or they can appear to have everything because they don't have everything, right? They can appear to have everything and still be miserable. And that's because they don't have peace. They don't have joy. They don't have integrity. And so my encouragement to you all this morning is just don't bite the bait and keep showing up in joy. You are destined for greatness. And it starts, and don't think it gets better as you grow. Life gets better as we continuously grow. But that type of behavior, don't assume that it's just going to one day mysteriously stop. No, because as God continues to elevate you and you grow, I believe he builds us, right? He makes us stronger. We become more and more resilient because as you grow, you may see it on a higher scale. You may see that same type of behavior on a more higher level. And then if you haven't been prepared, it could throw you off, because you'll see that there are a lot of sociopaths. There are a lot of professional narcissists. And then you'll start to wonder, well, how could they, because they have a lot of people's minds bewitched. You see, a lot of people were sold on who they said that they were, or a lot of people are sold on based off of a person's accolades, or what they have accomplished, right? They don't see they miss all the red flags, or they don't have, their discernment is not as sharp to really see a lot of the red flags and to see that spirit. So they look at the outer accolades, what they have going on in their lives, what type of things that they engage in, or maybe they have a mass social media presence, so those are things that would throw even a reasonably minded person off, right? And so don't think that what you're experiencing now, you may not experience it at a later time as God continues to elevate you, right? Because if you keep that pure heart and if you keep operating in joy, and some of the other messages that some brothers and sisters message me, how you're always very helpful, you try to help people, and you're kind to them, but then you'll have some people who are in supervisory positions or leadership positions, they're still taking little jabs at you. It doesn't matter how kind you are, sweetheart, my brothers, my sisters. It don't matter how kind you are. As much as we've gone over spiritual warfare, understand is what you carry. And when somebody sees that light in you, they're going to try to shut that thing down. They don't like it. When somebody feel like they got to be the shiniest object in the room, understand why it could appear that they have more than you and they would take jabs at you. But don't bite the bait, because let me tell you something, what I have learned. And I'm not a psychologist, but when you have come under, when you have been opposed by a lot of people with narcissistic personality, you have to learn more about how people operate, right? And when the more you learn, it could be kind of frightening sometimes to learn. But the more you know, the better you can protect yourself and not feed into or bite the baits of those who come and try to pull from your energy, because that's all it is. It doesn't matter how much a person has going on, or how much money a person makes, or how much nice material things they have. when someone is a narcissist, they feed off of other people's energy. They feed being off of the ability to pull other people down or make themselves esteemed above other people. And when you realize just how serious this type of disorder is, and you see it in operation, you can learn how to avoid these type of traps and how to not give your energy to these type of people who are living in misery, but they are also very wicked. And I always like to tie a narcissistic spirit to a Jezebel, and it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. That Jezebel spirit, it likes control. That Jezebel spirit was a spirit that is opposed to light, right? It's full of darkness. So when you look at it from a spiritual perspective, you can understand just how crafty and devious that spirit can be, right? And then you learn how to pray. And one thing about it, when you continue to ignore and don't bite those baits, you will always see that enemy fall. They will always fall to their own demise. And the more you keep your energy and you learn how to avoid those traps, not being provoked, not being easily angered, you see, because oftentimes they're so crafty at what they do, it's a game for them. And if you feed into it, and everybody's not going to be able to see what you see. In fact, sometimes it may make you look crazy if you try to directly point it out, because so many people's mind have been bewitched, right? And so if you try to point it out, sometimes it'll make it look like, oh, you just a narcissist. Say, oh, you just being emotional. Oh, why are you acting like that? She just really, really emotional. Think people just out to get her or something like that, right? But really, what you're seeing, but everybody can't see it. And so in these type of situations, when your eyes are open, which many of you, your eyes are open, and your little country bumpkin is helping you move around all the evil, identify it, and pray, you see them fall to their own demise, baby. I've seen it time after time again. It don't matter. Sometimes, because a lot of times, they compete against God. They want to be God. A lot of times, these people, especially when they hold high positions, they want to play God in other people's lives. They want to dictate how other people's lives should run. And if you see them for who they are, and you make them self-reflect, or you hold up a mirror and you don't bow down to them like everybody else doing, oh baby, you a target. See, now they gonna watch you. They watching you closer than anybody else. And if you are not mentally strong, they're going to pull you and keep pulling at you, because they're going to keep taking secret jabs at you. See, they expose themselves. But you got to know how to, like the Bible says, be slow to anger. Be slow to anger. And you keep moving. See? Because you have the people that are with you are spiritual. The angels that have been given charge over you. You got God fighting your battle. And see, sometimes God will let somebody who's been being this crafty in their way for a long time, he let them come across your little light so that they could think and stop and reflect. And they may have some struggles going back and forth, I see it all the time. I see it a lot. Where some people, they come across my little light, they don't even know me. And then they start to struggle within themselves. Then they start to try to lash out and attack me. I just keep on going. Then they start to go back and reflect as I ignore them. Reflect within themselves. Then after some time, that spirit of Saul, they grow. They ain't truly repentant. They mad because you can see them for who they are, and they can't get a control over your mind. They can't bring you under them and make you subject yourself to them. So then they'll go, they get mad, they wrestle within themselves. Then they might try to turn people against you, right? They started, the witchcraft starts in their mind. Yeah. And see, what throws a reasonable, pure-hearted individual off is because you begin to say, well, this person said they are a man of God or a woman of God, supposed to be a person of God. Why are they doing this to me? Then you start getting frustrated in yourself. Dump it. Discard that. Because that's your mental energy trying to figure out this wickedness. Understand what it is. Jezebel ain't never turned to God. Jezebel was never sorry for what she did. Jezebel never truly repented, never humbled herself. So understand, we wrestle not against the flesh and blood. Don't let them get you in the flesh, baby. Don't bite the bait. They are miserable. You hit the nail on the head. Now you guys know. Only miserable people do these type of things. Do you think a person who is really happy and who is full of joy is going to be sitting there trying to pull you down? It's going to be taking jabs at you. For one, they're going to have stuff going on. They ain't got too much time to pay you no attention. So when you got somebody that don't mind sitting back watching you, which is what they do. They might act like they don't see you. When you go on these jobs, they watch you. And just about everybody got social media now. Many of you have Facebook accounts. You know, I personally don't have any other social media besides YouTube. But many of you got Facebook accounts and stuff. Don't think that people are not watching you. Your adversaries watch you more than anybody else. And you'd be surprised. They sit back. They have time on their hands to watch. And many of them, if you just continue to stay on your path, your adversaries will always expose themselves. Always. But you got to be slow to anger. And you got to stay in your joy. They always tell on themselves. Everybody ain't going to be able to see it, but you see it. And as you begin to see it, them revealing their hands, you ain't got to say, oh, look, see, they telling on themselves. They saying what they saying about somebody else. That's them. You ain't got to say none of that. Let time. That's God showing you. Check. God is allowing that spirit to uncover itself. And if they don't never stop, if they keep their sights on you, you're going to see them slowly continue to deteriorate. You see, on the outside, it may look like they're gaining, but their soul, they're caged, they're trapped. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose their soul? Look at how much Jezebel had. She and Ahab were rich. She was the queen. They had money, wasn't a thing for them. They had everything. But see, that greed, Ahab wanted more. He wanted what didn't belong to him. And it's the same thing with some of these people that's eyeing you. Some people don't like it. One lady say, a married couple. Your married couple, you live in your neighborhood and they constantly watch you. Welcome to the club, baby. I got a married couple that watch me and don't even live near my street. Live down the road, round the corner. The husband and the wife, they keep eyeing me. They even ride past. My neighbor caught the wife in my yard one time. Right? And then it's surprising because they up in age. They ain't young. They ain't no spring chickens. But it's all spiritual. See, the old version of me would have get in the flesh. Why are you doing what you're doing? The old version of me would have been there went and signed some paper to get some bracelets put on somebody's arm. But see, my heart, my compassion, I look at the age and they harmless to me. Oh, I don't think the documentation ain't there, you know. Just document stuff. Pay attention to what your adversaries is doing and who they are. That's how people get indicted. They get watched. Their behaviors play out. And I guarantee you, if you learn to be slow to anger, you will see that your adversary has already done, rolled over on themselves by trying to tie you up, by trying to frustrate you, by trying to stop and limit your progress. They already done slowed themselves up. They already done indicted themselves. You see? Indictments. There is a pattern of dysfunctional behavior, psychological warfare, right? So don't be quick to anger. Don't bite the bait. Just pay attention to what God is doing, and you keep praying. Jezebel fell to her own wicked demise. She was a liar. She was a thief. She was evil. She ain't had no heart after God. Don't you know it's some people that use God's name to build themselves up, wanted to present themselves that they were somebody of God, but really their hearts was after building their own. Their hearts was nothing but after money. They use a lot of God's people to build themselves up to attain a lot of riches. And if you somebody who can see somebody like that for who they really are, don't you know them people's eyes will be set on you? Because God may use you, unbeknownst to you, to make them folks self-reflect. And they get angry with you. They'll sit back and try to find fault with you. Sit back, try to pick you apart. So you got to understand, if you carry the light of Christ in you, that light going to shine on a lot of darkness. And you're going to see things you probably don't even want to see. You're going to learn of things that you don't even want to learn of. And it will make you sad sometimes. So it's not really about you. It's about who God has called you to be. And what God has called you to do in the earth. So a lot of times, them attacks, they ain't really coming for you. They coming to stop your purpose. They coming to put out that light that's shining. They coming to shut your mouth, because the more you talk and the more you grow, you're causing the captives to be set free. The more you show up, you making them feel some type of way. You making them see they not really all that when they thought they was all that. And you ain't trying to do none of it. You know, there'll be some people that got spirit of pride on them. They ain't that spirit of pride. They wasn't even able to self-reflect until your light shine. And you wasn't even trying to shine it on them. But it's shining just by you being you. Don't you know when you show up for life being your authentic self? There's something powerful and amazing about that in a world where there's so many carbon copies and people who live in the bondage in modern day slavery, or being in the bondage of other people's opinions. And then, don't you know there's so many people who just have built themselves up that by being the mind of controlling the minds of others. And so when you show up your authentic self, confident in who you are, not letting people be able to break your spirit by taking jabs at your outer appearance. They'll try to do anything and say everything, attack you on every area to break your confidence. They first attack how you look, then they'll attack how you talk, then they'll attack how you dress. And if none of that break your spirit, then they try to dig up things in your past. They try to find anything they could find on you to try to hurt you. It be the ones who are offended by your light, the ones who your light uncover their darkness when you ain't even trying to do it. See, when you faking and pretending to be something for so long, and then you see something that's real and authentic, that thing gonna rub you the wrong way, especially if you done built yourself up and set yourself up and built your own kingdom on earth and then lied on God. And if God sent his little children, his little son and his little daughters through there, who just being their authentic self, loving their daddy for real, walking with their daddy for real, and you got some folk that lied and pretended that they were walking with them, oh, you don't think the real children of God is going to disturb some folk? Those who love him for real. You ain't trying to beat his people over the head. You ain't trying to use his people to build your own kingdom on earth. You put your own hands to the plow. You mind your own business. But it's folk that watching you that's trying to keep stepping in your lane. And every time you have to beat them buzzers back, it causes you to grow. But you have to take your head, you have to look out of your lane to beat them buzzers back. When a ball is coming at you and you got that bat in your hand, you got to get your eyes on that ball, not the bat. See? Not what you got going on. You got to keep your eyes on that ball so that you can hit it just right at the right angle and bat it back in that field. I've been using some weird analogies, ain't it? But be encouraged, my brothers and sisters. Don't bite the bait. Your light is shining. God has already proven his children. It's shining now more than ever. The true sons and daughters of Zion are rising. And you ain't even trying to build yourself up. It's because you keep showing up for life and you understanding. God has given y'all revelation. See, you're understanding spiritual warfare. You're being able to see people for who they are. The masks have fallen off. See, they can't hide no more. And so that one that came and was bold enough, was resilient enough, had enough integrity, was able to stand and stand strong, not let the evildoers break you, not let what they say break you. Trust in God for real. They know your God is with you. They know it's your Father protecting you, and they know all the secret conversations they've had about you. They know how they've mislabeled you. They know how they try to paint you black. They know how they tried to use their influence to turn folk against you, and it still didn't work. They know how they tried to shut your mouth and sabotage, make you look to be like something you was not. Don't you know vengeance is the Lord's? And don't you know that all of that is documented? But your heart in the right posture. That's why you can keep your head held high, and you ain't got to watch what they do. You can keep moving around them. Every time you move around them and they send arrows your way, they get more and more furiated. They drying up on the inside. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose their soul? See, you ain't losing your soul because the fact that you can keep a smile on your face every day and you can laugh and be in joy every day, even when troubles come, even when you have hard time, that's the strength of the Lord with you. See, you got something they don't got. You ain't riding on your own strength. You know, I look back at, just speaking of riding on own strength, over the weekend, you know, I was talking to my elder, and I just thank God for my elder. You know, she fuss at me sometimes. She guides me. She gives me advice. She's like a angel, you know. But I was just talking to her. She was saying, you need to take a break. She said, I do too much. She said, you know, I pour out too much. She said, God see your heart, baby. You need to take a break. She said, I need to take a break from YouTube. And, you know, I was pondering on that, and I do. I just talking about strength, the strength of God. I was looking back. I've only been here. I've had a YouTube account. Many of you go to the About section. You'll see I had a YouTube account for what, over 10, 12 years, right? It's the same account, but I only started posting on here over the last, a little over 2 years. I think Sister Amanda, you and a few others, you've been rocking with me, Brother Isaac, from the very beginning. It's a few of y'all, we've been walking together from the beginning. You all have been encouraging me. You say, I encourage you. We encourage each other, right? But I was just looking back at all these little videos. Oh, some I was looking so dusty and busty. I'm always working, right? My little dirty country self. But I look back over all these little videos, and sometimes I'll be laughing. But I'll listen, and the Spirit of the Lord just encourages me. And I'll be like, Lord, what I could have to say in over 1,600 videos in 2 years, every single day, for over the past a little over 2 years, every single day, I have tapped into this thing and encouraged God's people, and also been encouraging myself, you know, for 2 years, every day, consistently, 2 to 7 times. I remember in the beginning, I would upload a video 2 to 7 times a day. And a lot of it I was fighting through warfare, you know. And so it tended to be very therapeutic. And you know, I was talking with me and my cousin were talking a while back. Over the course of my entire life, I have never had any type of professional counseling, and I'm not opposed to it. But when I look back over all the warfare, all the different things that I've grown up through trauma, didn't even realize it was trauma, I thank God it's only by the grace of God that I have a sound mind. And it proves his word true. He said, I don't give you a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. And over the course of my life, God has put people in my path right when I needed it. That's how you know he's watching us and he's real. And we came from above. Like my elder, she said, this connection, she said, this was divine. She always tells me that. She said, this was divine. She's a writer, producer, you know. She's just amazing. 73 years old. I am honored. And I remember she told me she was honored. You know, I am honored. That type of wisdom and knowledge. Growing up as a child, my mother always had a lot of older friends as well. And she would always send me to do things, to run errands for my elders, even if it was, go check Miss Sue mailbox, go and do this, go and help so-and-so, Miss so-and-so put on her shoe. And I would be so happy to do it, you know. And so I was always a servant. That's been my life. You know, I've always served. And I remember, and you know, when God has his hand on you, and I'm going off subject a little bit, But when God has his hand on you, he can use you in any capacity. And there are going to be some folk that envy that. There are going to be some folk that say, who is you? You know, who is you? You ain't never had no children. You ain't never been no mother. I've been a mother to many, taking folk in my home. But don't argue with folk when they get offended. There've been times working as a police officer, I've got called out to many domestic disputes. I've had to arrest many wives. I've arrested many husbands, not wanting to though, but the situation was just that dire. I've sat in some homes of married couples and counseled with them a little bit. My little self had one wife, after talking to she and her husband was just frustrated, but she and I became friends for a while. I said, you got to find something to do. Husband was over 60 years old. He done retired one job, had a business, and she used to frustrate him. He loved her so much. She was a young thing in her early 50s, but she used to always call and frustrate that man. And I tell her, I said, you got too much time on your hands. She said, well, he don't answer my phone, and I love him. I said, ma'am, this man ain't got no time to cheat on you. And you could see he built this nice, big, beautiful home. And when I sat in there and talked to her, I said, you want me to take her to jail? And we would sit and laugh. And before I left, they ended up hugging each other. He said, I appreciate you so much. And so I would spend time communicating with her. I said, get into the gym membership. There's so much to do in that city that I was working in. And over time, they got better and better. And I would see them out sometimes at the grocery store while I was on patrol. We'd talk, and he would say, oh, I sure appreciate you. She needs somebody that's you. And I'd be like, the wife would say, you married? I said, no, ma'am, never been married. God. See, when the Spirit of God work on the inside of you, he can use you to do anything he wants you to do. But see, the battles and the trials are going to come because there will be many man meaning human, that will judge you from your outer appearance, that will look at you and feel some type of way because they got the worldly qualifications and they want to know, who are you? You don't owe them no explanation. Move around them. When you are fully surrendered and submitted to God, he can use you in any capacity. But there are going to be people who don't like you. Everybody is not going to like you. There are going to be people who are offended. There are going to be people who see your gifts, but they want to keep you down. Right? They are fighting. When they do that, they make themselves an enemy to God. You just make sure that your heart stay in the right posture. Always be a vessel where God can use you. Walk uprightly. Stay away from sin. And if you fall down in any area, keep it real with God. Right? Strive for perfection daily. Don't take advantage of God's grace and mercy. Don't let people bait you into conflict. And don't let people bait you into telling you, like a sister on here, you said the other day, and I love that. You said, don't let people bait you into telling them your testimonies or the things that God has delivered you from. Because sometimes people, and I'm paraphrasing, I can't remember all that you said, but they'll use it as a way to attack you. And it's true. Be spirit-led when you share what you share with folk. You see, be spirit-led. What God delivered you from? Sin. There'll be some people that come, and they'll come as you as a brother or sister in Christ. They'll come praising you, but they only want to get close to you to attack that light in you. And you don't know always that they're sent from the devil. Time reveals everything. You see, when you really walking with God, God will use you in a mighty way. And people, they can feel God in you. Your words and your actions and the deeds that you do, they will be very healing to people. And people will go out. You go tell them, don't tell nobody. They'll still go. What Jesus told people, don't tell nobody. They still went and told people. He ain't want all that publicity. Jesus ain't want all that. You don't want all. You just want to be a normal person in this earth. But it's going to be people that'll come and attack you, that look like they got more than you. See? Life is spiritual, so all the earthly stuff, we can't take none of this stuff with us, so don't get your heart caught up in that. God gonna give you what you need. God gonna always provide. You may have some struggle days sometimes or over the course of your life, but it will always get better if you walk by faith and not by sight. And don't let people who dangle their money and material things in your face get you chasing after them, because they want to take something from you. What God gives you is going to be free. See, God will add increase to you, right? And it won't be no sorrow with it. See, some people, they built themselves up, and that's why they can't enjoy their riches. They can't enjoy what looked like they got more because they're not really happy. T.I. said something in the song, unhappy with the riches because you're piss poor morally. That song with him and Rihanna, Live Your Life. Oh, I still like that song. I still like a lot of music, my R&B, my rap. There's some stuff I don't like anymore. It's just my spirit just don't click. But as God, if he takes something out of me, the desire gonna be gone for it, right? But I still be like my R&B. And so anyway, I just want to say that don't bite the bait. And just to something go back to the music. When I walked down the aisle, I had my grandmother's daughter friend. They're both her friends. The parents are both pastors. And she said, one thing I know, when I get married, I sure ain't walking down the aisle to no gospel music. And her mother's face was like, because her mom and dad are both pastors. And I'm going to say the same thing. When I walk down that aisle, if I ever decide to, I ain't walking down to no gospel music. It's going to be something like, you make me happy. Yeah. But anyway, y'all, have a blessed day. Don't bite the bait, okay? It's what you carry. It's what's on the inside of you. Stay in joy. And you watch your enemies slowly just continue to crumble, right? Because they miserable. Miserable because they ain't got what you got. Saul never took his eyes off of David. Jezebel stayed evil her whole life and fell to her own demise. That big empire was brought down, baby. You understand? Was brought down by one man that destroyed all them false fake prophets of hers. So just keep walking with God. There is more with you than there is against you. Keep your heart in a pure posture, though. Don't you become hateful. Don't you become bitter. Don't you become envious and jealous. Don't let that stuff absorb on you. You get opposed with it, but don't let it absorb into you. Stay loving people. Stay pure-hearted and stay humble. See, where there is humility, pride can't operate there. So stay humble. Right? And if nobody told you that they love you this morning, you know your little country bunking sister loves you. Go and enjoy this Thursday morning. Wrap up now. I don't think I'm going to leave out too early this morning. I'm gonna read some and I ain't going to get out too early like I did yesterday. But wrap up because it's chilly. But y'all have a blessed day. We know that the blood of Jesus is the only blood that has power. And don't ever let that light grow dark. Keep shining bright. A wise man will see trouble and he'll hide himself. Not because he's a coward, because he's wise. So just, it's okay to move around it. Keep moving around it. Don't let them snatch your joy. They miserable. They angry. Don't bite the bait and get the going back and forth. They fuel off of energy. They need somebody to get into these mental battles with them. Let them stay miserable by themselves. Have a blessed day.